Yep, it's almost 7 o'clock. And we're just waiting. Yep, it's less than a minute to
And
go.
and again, it looked like a number 8:59.
Yeah.
But it's not about to turn to 9 o'clock.
Right. Well, we're just going to give it another few seconds and we're going to get started, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to climb up here a little bit? Do you think you can? There we go. So you can be seen.
And so the playroom vacuum can't be blizzarding everything up.
Right. Okay, we're going to get started, all right? Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Happy Monday. It is another
Amazing day in
paradise.
paradise.
My name is Carolyn Sanders. Most people know me as Kai.
And my name is I'm Chance Tabron. Some people know me as Liz.
This is true. Some people know you as Wiz. And you are a Wiz, aren't you? We just want to say thank you so much for joining us. Before I get into the content for today, I do want to acknowledge that it is Memorial Day and also the 100-year commemoration of the Tulsa race riots. Two very somber occasions, one recognizing the veterans who gave the ultimate sacrifice in losing their lives in defense of our Constitution, and the other one just recognizing the loss of lives senselessly, really senselessly. And just as a note, if you're not familiar with the Every Dot Black family, Every Dot Black, and that is literally the name of the business and the website, Every Period Black, the dot black is the new .com. They are broadcasting live from Tulsa, Oklahoma tonight at 8 o'clock, and you can catch them on their Facebook page, which is Every Dot Black. And so that starts at 8 o'clock. So after you're done here, I would go over there and prepare to be instructed. The reason why I'm mentioning Every Dot Black is because since Wisdom and I have been in North Carolina, that was the foundation, the organization that really kind of gave wings to me as I was struggling with so many different challenges. And so I have a great heart and love for Jimmy Davies. And so I felt a great need to acknowledge the work that he's doing for Black businesses and Black business owners, Black entrepreneurs. And so if you can send some love their way, catch their broadcast again live from Tulsa, Oklahoma, via Zoom, or you can also go to Every Dot Black and look under the tab Masterminds. It'll talk about the meeting and you can register for the meeting there through Eventbrite. The title of this presentation is called April Showers Bring May Flowers and June Blooms. So most of you might know that April showers brings May flowers is an old adage that just talks about the weather. And in my case, it has talked about our most recent experiences. For those of you that don't know, Wisdom and I have been on a journey that could only have been ordained and organized and orchestrated by God through the perils, pitfalls, and harmful paradigms of poverty to uncover a lasting solution to move people from poverty to prosperity. And there's a quote that has been brought back to my remembrance, and it's by a gentleman by the name of Neil A. Maxwell. He's an elder in the LDS Church, and he once said something to the effect of, God does not begin by asking about our ability, but about our availability. And when we prove our dependability, he will increase our capability. And that quote has been sitting on my heart for the last week or so, as I reflect on being available for God in this assignment that He's given me and my son. And in relation to that, I think about the scripture in Romans chapter 8, verse 28, where it says, and we know that all things work together for good for them that love God and are called according to his purposes. And so some of the things that I share with you, they might frustrate you, they might anger you, they might sadden you. Please don't feel any sort of pity for what we've been through, because I just consider it an all thing. Definitely, it's been frustrating in the moment, but when you look at what God then brings us through, it is an amazing and powerful experience. And so, that solution that I said that we've been on this journey for, I'm excited yet humbled to proclaim that we found it. And the experience that I'm going to talk about just briefly, because I don't want this broadcast to go too long, is our experience with the last homelessness organizations that are designed to help, I guess you could say. And I'm not calling out any names of organizations or any people in particular. I am just sharing my experiences from my perspective. And what the long story short was, we were registered with this organization. I got a call from the woman who was assigned as our case manager, and she said, we have this referral for this other organization. Can I send it through? And she was quite persistent about me accepting this referral. And I kept asking, well, what does it mean? What does it mean? And she just kept saying, she just kept repeating the services that they would be providing for me and my son, which it was definitely different from um, she had what the organization offered. And so I said, go ahead, okay. I didn't think anything of it, and I kept doing what I had been directed to do. And that was the first thing that God said when we moved into the into the hotel that this organization houses through. The first thing that God said was, chill. Like, chill out. Your focus needs to be in the right place in order for you to move forward. And then the second direction he gave me was to get my house in order. And one of the things that I learned in that time frame was how high my blood pressure was. I haven't had it checked since, mind you. That was in March, that I had my blood pressure checked, and it was 144/92, if I'm not mistaken. And when I looked that up, I'm technically like type 2 or level 2 hypertension. It's like like one step down from the top. And I was like, and I knew my weight was up, but I wasn't acknowledging the stress of what was happening or had been happening with us prior to this move, and how it was affecting my body. And so God was like, get your house in order. And then there were some things about Wisdom, even though he is a brilliant and dynamic and phenomenal young man. He also has some skills that he hasn't acquired, or he hasn't solidified, I'll say, that are not serving him very well. And so, for instance, his attention span, he's gone. and so, and so he needed to be more trained. He needed to be trained more in some aspects of things that he had not been um, fully exposed to, because of us being so transient. And so, I said, long story short, so what ended up happening was that call came in about a week and a half after we were involved in the program. And they had prepaid for 30 days at the hotel, after saying that they were just going to pay week by week. And I didn't understand the whole week by week thing. And so when the 30 days came in, I was like, okay, I was like, and she's like, it was just a better rate. And I was like, okay. 2 weeks later, I find out, after this referral has come through and I've talked with the lady from the organization, I find out that when I presented the question, because no answers had, or no information had been given to me, what was happening, because the 30 days was coming to an end. I was told a day after I sent the message inquiring that the organization has partners who would provide me and my son with beds. And I was like, they're telling me this less than a week before we would technically have to move. And because we had been in a shelter situation before, I wasn't willing to sacrifice my son to get the assistance that they were offering. It was just too high of a cost because he is a child and he is subjected. One of the things that I learned about wisdom, God gave him his name, and he took when God gave me his name, he told me it was not going to be for the things that he would learn, but for the things that he would teach. And one of the things that wisdom has taught me about being a child is that all children are wisdom. All children are wise. Because if you think of the definition of wisdom, it's the application of knowledge. And that's exactly what children do. Under the right circumstances, if they're given the right circumstances to explore and learn, they apply everything that they learn. And that's why it's so important to protect them from what they are involved in. And because we had been in a shelter situation and I had seen children that weren't protected, I wasn't willing to put wisdom back in a situation where he was wise enough to pick up on behaviors that did not serve him or I very well. And so, um, with 3 days left officially until we had to pay for the room, which was an $85 a night room, we were told that it wasn't going to get paid for any longer because we weren't going with this other organization. And so, having been through so much, I was just like I was hot. I was heated. I was very emotional and, very, I won't say irrational. I called, to try to get a conversation with the executive director. I did everything that I thought was in my power. I reached out to people and asked them to call and help. And I never spoke with the executive director. And finally, God said to just chill and that He'll handle it. It has that I have a work to do, and so I really need to get refocused. And so that's what I did. Um, I said I didn't wanna call around to churches and try to get help and different things of that nature. I had a blessing come through when I spoke to somebody. They, helped for a little while. They helped by sending some money so that I could pay for the room for a little while and get a head up on things. But then I said, I had put these packages together to introduce L.U.V, and I wanted to go out and sell them. And so, I went through the process of getting a solicitor's permit through the town that we live in so that I could go out and me and my son could go out and we could introduce what we were doing to people and be able to generate some sort of income. Now, one of the things about doing this is that it takes a lot of courage. It's not my specialty. It's not what I do. I'm not a salesperson by any stretch of the imagination. I'm don't consider myself like charismatic or dynamic or anything like that. I consider myself an educator and an investor, and you don't necessarily have to be dynamic or anything like that. The information that I have is good. I'm still learning how to present it. And so, going out, anytime we went out, it was a feat of courage to conquering fears in order to do it. And then I had this little being, this little human with me who wanted to do other things. His attention was not focused on waving at people or holding signs or anything else like that. Though he knew the purpose, that's not where his attention was. And so I kind of had a double whammy coming against me. But the blessing was is that people were extremely good to us and people were extremely kind to us. And we were able to pay for the room for some time until I realized that as the prices continued to fluctuate, even though I had been there for over 30 days, the prices fluctuated. And there was one weekend that I paid $260 for 2 nights because of the things that were happening in the town, that drew more people to needing hotel rooms. And because wasn't on this prepaid 30-day plan or prepaid week plan or whatever, my price shot up almost twice what it normally would be. And when that happened on more than one occasion, and I was looking at the situation as this is not okay. Um, this is another one of those things that's like, not okay. Like there's a lot of people living hotels and people are paying day to day and we weren't the only ones and it just really frustrated me that I couldn't get quarters from the front desk. And that seems like a totally insane reason. But I couldn't take paying $100 a night for a hotel where when I went up to where it took me 3 times and in a 24-hour period to go up to the front desk to get quarters just so I could wash laundry. This is about customer service. If you're gonna expect me to pay $100 a night for a room, you better give me $100 a night service. You know what I mean? And so I made a move and we left. And it was in that leaving, because when we moved into this room, I was like, this is it. Our next move is a house. It was in that leaving that community began to be created. The community that I had been craving was created. We had this wonderful gentleman offer to rent a storage unit for us. I had two people out of the blue come that I had asked at the last minute come and help pack us up. It took two vehicles. That's how much stuff we had in that room. Um, and it was such a blessing. And that was in May. So after that rain, that downpour of rain, that shower in April that completely threw me off guard, um, that was an amazing experience and just one of our many Mayflowers. Another one of our Mayflowers was I had mentioned that I had went and got a solicitor's permit from the town that we live in so that we could go out and we could sell stuff and not get in trouble. So one day we were out and we were standing there holding our signs that said buttons for sale and explaining that, we were just trying to pay for our hotel room. And a police officer drives up and he comes up to me and he says, he looks just so forlorn. He looks devastated to be having to talk to me. And he's like, I am so sorry to tell you this, but we got a call that said you were standing out here asking for money. Now, mind you, we are big and bold standing on the corner. we have full poster board size signs and with all sorts of things. And I was like, printed, I had printed stuff, posted, pasted them to the poster board, everything. And I looked at him, I said, really? I said, because I've got my permit right here. And it's a requirement that you wear the permit that they issue. It's in a badge form. And I have never seen a look of joy so complete on somebody. Now, to say that at first impression, like when I saw this man, I didn't think that we could have a conversation. We could not stand on a conversation. There would be no way we'd have a conversation if we met out in the street. He was kind of, my term redneck. I'm looking, my judgment. And we proceeded to have this 20-minute long conversation. And I happened to be the first person that him or his partner of 15 years had ever seen have a solicitor's permit. And one of the things that he said to me was, if you know of other people who are going through this, help them. And that was really humbling because I know that there are good people of all colors, because the situation that we're living in now is the people don't look like me, and they're helping us in a way that is far beyond anything that I could have imagined and far longer than anything I asked for. And so I'm humbled when I can interact with other people and it be such a beautiful and positive experience. And so that was another Mayflower. Despite all the people that we met, we've met so many people that just stopped and wished us well and purchased one of our buttons and were just so incredible. And my top three takeaways from not just these past 2 months, especially, but from the experience that has happened to us is that if it's happened to me in wisdom, and I have this little guy, this little human in my care, and I just have one, then it's happened to others. And that's really unfortunate. And it's sickening that for all these organizations that say they care about children, the very last thing they are doing is providing children and parents with avenues for mental health, um, to have positive and flourishing mental health situations to be in. And with it being the very last day of Mental Health Awareness Month, we can speculate that that is one of the reasons why poverty is so devastating and so continuous. Another takeaway has been resonating throughout this whole experience is that parenting is both the problem and the solution. The foundations of our behaviors is determined by experiences we likely don't remember and we definitely could not control because we were so young. That's why they say that, birth to 5, birth to 3 in particular, but birth to 5 and even as late as 7, those are the formative years. And so when children are around parents who aren't parenting or are underparenting them or not parenting them at all, um, we see the effects of that into adulthood. And if the community that surrounds that child is just a representation, is just similar to what the child is experiencing in the home, then we have a solid foundation on why problems exist. And then the third takeaway is that poverty affects people in more ways than financial. So the way that this experience has come about, and going back a little bit to the quote by Neil A. Maxwell and the scripture in Romans, all those good things that are coming from God and the capability that God has extended to me through this experience has made me recognize the diamond mine that is in my soul. That the excavation work that I have done on myself, that God has worked with me, that I've walked with Christ to uncover and dig out, that there is a diamond mine that is far brilliant than any physical possession that anybody could have. And there is no one that can't tell me that I am not richer than the richest person in the world, who happens to be no longer Jeff Bezos, but is some guy who's like over Tiffany's is now a part of their luxury line of products or something, but I can't remember the guy's name. I think it's Louis Vuitton, or he is not Louis Vuitton himself, if he was really a person, but it was the person who is like over this global luxury brand something. But I'm richer than him because of what is within me. And I know that anything that's outside of me, I am now ready to attract that proves it, that will show that. And so, in part of this experience that has helped me kind of get down to revealing that brilliance is my experience with the Motivation Readers Mastermind Network, which was established by the visionary mastermind Stan Anderson of Jamaica, New York. And it is a group of masterminds who meet Tuesday through Saturday mornings from 8 to about 9 o'clock. Technically the show runs from 8 to 8:30. It's a podcast that's found on the Every Black network. That's how I was introduced to it. But we usually have conversation until 9, but we read out of the best books. And it is designed to help encourage, inspire people to courageously pursue their cherished dreams. And this, when I was led to go back to the group in January, and they were reading The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Dr. Stephen R. Covey, which I had never read before. And the experience of reading that book and having this group to not just learn from, but also to speak into, has empowered me to excavate even further and deeper than I could have ever imagined, and has given me the power to articulate and express myself in a far more professional and resilient manner than I have ever done before. And I owe a debt of gratitude to the roles, excuse me, that each of those masterminds have played in my life and in my son's, because all the changes that happened to me are happening for him, and they will happen within him as well. And so all of these things have just said that it's time for change. And it's not about speed, it's about precision. So I'm not rushing into anything like I had before. Um, I'm not out here asking for money for anything. Right now is phase one of launching the business that God gave me the name for close to 15 years ago now. It was in 2008. So 13 years ago. I received the name for this company, and it's L.U.V Enterprises. And L.U.V is spelled L.U.V. So the phase one of launching L.U.V is to bring awareness to it via what I call the name that has been given is via a social media scavenger hunt, right? And that social media scavenger hunt is called Will You Believe in Love? And technically, a scavenger hunt is something where you're looking for something, right? You go out and you have a list of things and you're going to go find them. Well, this social media scavenger hunt is where across the 4 platforms where L.U.V is established, over the next week, you will find information about who we are, what we do, what love means, L.U.V. It's got 3 definitions, the 3 components of our motto, the 3 pillars that L.U.V has been established on, and our premier endeavor that will be launching privately with a pilot group of people, and then publicly, hopefully within the next year or so. That's called Paid to Parent, and PAID is an acronym that stands for Pleasure, Appreciation, Intelligence, and Dignity. To Parent, also known as the New Emancipation Proclamation. Um, Paid to Parent is a project that came to mind back in September of 2019. And it was first introduced to the Every Black network. And that's why they're so important to me, because that is where this began to grow. The seed was planted in me and it began to grow, and I was able to find some ground for it to stand on. And it has just been nourished and nourished and nourished for this long time. And so the goal of this social media scavenger hunt, this Will You Believe in Love campaign, is simply to get 1,000 or more subscribers, followers, and likes on each of the platforms. So I have a blog, loventerprisespresents.blogspot.com. I have an Instagram, which is L.U.V Enterprises Presents. I have a Facebook business page, which is L.U.V Enterprises Presents. And I have an Instagram page, which is, you guessed it, L.U.V Enterprises Presents. And every day this week, there will be a different, those 4 social media platforms will have a piece of the component of one of the 4 things I said. So tomorrow, I'm going to talk about who we are and what we do overall as a company, not focusing yet on Paid to Parent, AKA the New Emancipation Proclamation. And every day on Wednesday, it will be what love means. On Thursday, it will be what our motto is. On Friday, it will be the 3 pillars. And then on Saturday is where I'll begin to divulge about our premier endeavor. And then on Sunday, my goal is to be able to post videos of people who are proclaiming that they will believe in love. So I hope you will just tune in. I'm going to be sending out more information. I'll be sending out a link in the morning. Well, the link will be available at noon on any of my platforms. That's when I'll be posting, is at 12 o'clock every day. So you kind of get a little lunchtime nugget, something to munch on mentally while you're munching physically. And he has returned. Hey, baby, you're just in time to say goodbye. I'm almost done. And just help me to gain the ground that love needs to go global. So this is hashtag spread love, spread LOVE, and spread LUV. It is Will You Believe in Love? Because I believe in love, LUV. It is L.U.V Enterprises Presents, hashtag, all that good stuff. And our time together is coming to an end. I just want to thank everybody who has participated by watching. Thank you so much for your support in advance. Thank you to Brother Yemi and Mastermind Stan Anderson, who's in the chat. You see, look, Mastermind Stan said peace, wisdom.
Wisdom Sky.
Yep.
Hi.
Yemi. Yes, Brother Yemi. And so we just thank you for the ways in which you will help us launch love and make this go global so that we can begin to have healing in our communities. My focus right now is the Black community. And I am excited that this is not something that will just touch the Black community, because it's something that affects every community of every color. And I'm just humbled. And thank you, Tommy. Whew, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. It is not very easy. To be vulnerable, but that is the power of God. And a lot of times the tears are not tears of sadness or anger. I'm just so in love with who I have become. In this journey, the little girl that was hurting is healing. And I want that to be for everyone. And if you could see just that little human that God has allowed me to nurture. Poverty isn't what makes people poor. It's not what's in their pockets that makes people poor. It's what's here, and it's what's missing. And I just want people to know what I have. I want people to have the same kind of relationship that I have with wisdom, and that wisdom has with me. And I just thank you all for coming. This is the coolest kid ever. I tell everybody every day. So thank you, Mastermind Danielle. Thank you, Mastermind Darren. And I appreciate you all. Love you all. Keep. Yes, thank you. Yes, Brother Miami. Thank you, Brother Mastermind Stan. Thank you for everybody who will view this in the future. So grateful for you, and for just this journey we've been on. We are so honored that God has given us this assignment. I say that we aren't anything special, because there are almost 600,000 people in America alone that are homeless. But there's a scripture in closing that says, many are called, but few are chosen. And I once heard somebody say that differently, that many are called, but few chose. And when I gave my life to God years ago now, y'all don't know how old I really am. I didn't expect this, but I'm so honored that He allowed me to go through this experience, because I chose Him. And I love you all, and I appreciate you all, those who have joined me live and those who will watch this in the future. Our theme for this year is the best is yet to come in 2021, and it already has. And we aren't even housed yet. But let me tell you, when the best gets better than this is on, I'm telling you. And I just want other people to feel this joy that I have, to feel the peace that I have, and to keep moving. Thank you, Mastermind Herman. It's so good to see you. I appreciate you. And yes, it is true. I have been chosen because I chose Him. Yes. Yep. So do you want to come say goodbye? Say, enjoy creating your amazing day.
Enjoy creating your amazing day. Au revoir.
Au revoir. Arrivederci. And what else? Adios. Adios. Thank you again, everybody. We love you. Mastermind said, Danielle said, wisdom, I love you, buddy. I love you too.
Love you too, Mastermind Danielle.
Thanks again, everybody. Thank you, Mastermind Joy Sonia.
Thank you, Mastermind Stan.